This is just a disclaimer I thought I should add before the video starts, mainly for all the people I know in real life who are going to be like, "What? You listen to Taylor Swift?" And listen, I like to think I listen to a decent amount of music, and if you would like to know what that is, I have a 3-hour video which you can check out right here, which explains all the stuff that I do listen to. And Taylor Swift just happens to be a part of my listening catalog, and I enjoy it. So, yeah. What is up, gamers? It's your boy HamFam1, and we're coming back to you with another tier list. And this one is a pretty huge one. I will be ranking Taylor Swift's single discography, and that is every single off of her albums, including deluxes, but not including like any one-off random singles. And a couple things before we get started. One, the one thing that makes me mad about all these tier list videos on YouTube is that they oversaturate the S and the A tier. So I will be grading everything on a bell curve because not everything is the greatest, and a lot of it is mid, but yeah. And then the next thing is I will be going through and just tossing things into their respective tiers, and then I will go back at the end and reorder them depending on which one I like more. So that's how I'm going to do this, and without further ado, we got the first single by Taylor Swift off of her first album, and that would be Tim McGraw. And I actually kind of like this song. I think it was a good choice as a first single. Business-wise, of course, because it piggybacks off of Tim McGraw, who is a very big country star, and I'm not big into country, but even I knew who he was, so it made sense to kind of put her roots into that early on to get some name recognition out there. And I also just enjoy the song. I like the guitar at the beginning, and I like how it just plucks along during the song. And then I also like the bittersweet notion of the song, sort of like this person is going off to college and you want them to remember you kind of selfishly, but it's like in a good way, in an innocent way, but even though it is selfish in the end. So I do enjoy me some Tim McGraw. Not the greatest, not the worst, but it is a solid first song. What is not a solid song is Teardrops on My Guitar. And all I'm saying is, if you're going to whine, at least make it interesting. This thing is a slog to get through. And I enjoy a slow song, but this thing is just like, nah, bruh. Like, the instrumental is just not there. The vocal melodies are just not there. And lyrically, it's nothing we won't hear later that she won't do like 10 times better, because she'll sing about like the same stuff over much better instrumentals and much better lyrics. So this is kind of, I guess, like a stepping stone in a way, but I just don't enjoy listening to it whatsoever. Next up, we got Our Song, which is indeed a banger. And I really like the sentiment of this song, how it's just like, we don't have a song. And it's like, oh, our song is everything that we do together. It's super sweet. And then obviously the melody is just really great. That chorus really bangs. And yeah, just an all-around good one. And then I think sort of along those lines, I think Pictured Burn is like that, just like in an inferior version. It is still a banger. It rocks super hard, but I just think that once you heard it the first time, you kind of like are like, all right, that was pretty cool, but that's about it. And I like how she says you're gay, but then she took it out on subsequent releases, which is kind of a bummer, but it's still a banger. I still enjoy listening to it sometimes. I should have said no. I don't remember this one. I probably heard it, but yeah, I do not remember. Moving on to the Fearless era, starting off with such a banger, Love Story. I think this is one of her greatest songs ever. Spoiler alert. Part of it is nostalgia. I'd say for this song, I have a key memory of sitting in the back of my dad's car coming home from Qdoba while this was playing, and I was like, man, this is a lit song. And that sentiment has stayed with me for the rest of my life. So I definitely have the nostalgia factor there, but I also just love the narrative, how she goes through like the Romeo and Juliet story. And of course, like, it has such a loud and in your face chorus that you can just sing along to at any time. And it's just so good. And the instrumental is super memorable. And I think it's just Taylor Swift at her best, especially in her early era, and I will always love enjoying listening to this song. Next up, we got White Horse, and I think this one is quite good as well. Not quite on the love story level, but I definitely enjoy the melody during the chorus. I think it's one of her strongest, along with the harmonies that are going on there. And I like the simplicity of the guitar riff at the beginning and all throughout the song, and also the piano is really cool. But yeah, I really like this one. Next up, we got another huge song, As You Belong With Me, and this song is made to get white people turned, including me. This song is such a banger. Whenever you hear those opening, you know you're about to go crazy with the homies. And I just think it's an ultimate pick-me song. Like, she wears short skirts, I wear t-shirts, but like, whatever, it bangs so hard and it's so classic. Everybody knows it, everybody sings along with it, that it doesn't matter because it's just so much fun. Next thing is 15, and I enjoy the song, but the thing that hinders my enjoyment of it is that it is made for a 15-year-old girl, and I am not a 15-year-old girl. I can't relate to dating the guy on the football team, but I do think the structure of the song is quite solid, and especially the chorus is very, very good. Yes. Next up, we got Fearless, and I think this is a banger opening. I just like the sentiment of it, how it opens the album up of just like, I'm fearless, we're going into this relationship, and nothing's going to go wrong, and I'm going to live free and carefree, and it's going to be awesome. And it really shows her confidence, and I think that's pretty cool. And it shows up as a very nice tune. And that ends the Fearless era, and then we go straight into Mine. And now I know a lot of people don't really like this song as much as some of her other openers, but I think it fits very well, especially with those opening seconds of It's just like, all right, let's see where this is going. She's very good at writing really good openings to songs that really grip you for what's to come, and this song is no exception. And I also really like how you can really tell the upgrade in vocals on this song, especially coming off of her first couple albums. I think this really shows like a lot of her confidence, like coming into her own as an artist, and it really shows, especially with like the sassiness that she sings during the verses. And then when she's like, every time I look at you, I'm like, damn, she hit that shit. But yeah, I think Mine is a great track. And then next up, we got Back to December, which I think is another super big heavy hitter. And whereas Mine was like the upgrade in vocals, I'd say this song was like the upgrade in instrumentals coming off of her first two albums. Because like this one, the strings, the guitars, the drums, like everything just comes together so perfectly, especially during the chorus when she's just rattling off everything that she did wrong to this person. And I also like that, how it's like a sentiment of finally she realizes she did something wrong and she's like apologizing for it. And she doesn't do that very often, so I'm glad that she does it here, and it just makes for an amazing, well-rounded, solid track that is actually even better on the re-recorded version, which is not true for a lot of these other ones. I think Especially Speak Now doesn't do it justice with the re-recordings, but anyway, that's just my opinion. Next up, we got Mean, and I really love this song. It is so funny and sing along. I think it's a good screw you to all of her critics, and making it in a way that's super danceable and super I don't want to say kid friendly, but like, I don't know, it puts a positive spin on people dissing her, which I think is really cool and makes for a banging song on the banjo, baby. And next up, we got The Story of Us, which I think is another banging song, but not quite as much as the other ones. I really like how you can hear her influences on this one. I know on Speak Now, who was it? Fall Out Boy and Paramore were really influential on her creating this, and this is like a pop punk track of her own. And I think it bangs. I think the chorus really bangs, but like, it's not like anything super special that the other bands didn't already do better. But it's still a really fun, danceable track. And then next up we got Sparks Fly, and I also really do not psych. I like this track. So if mine was the vocal upgrade and Back to December was the instrumental upgrade, I'd say that Sparks Fly is the melodic upgrade. I just think the melody throughout the entire song, especially during the chorus, and I'd say the verses pretty much just as well, are all top notch, and it's just a banger. And after some careful deliberation, and it also being the next day, I've decided to move these both down a notch, but they're still good songs. Ours, I love the piano melody playing throughout it. Definitely feels like just a bonus track, just kind of an afterthought, I guess, but the melody's still there, and it's very sweet. So we're going to place that there. And now we're moving on to the Red era. And there are some good tracks here. Starting out with Red, I'm going to put in the A tier, pretty much just because of the vocal stutters during the chorus. I don't know why, I just love them so much. They sound a lot better on the re-recorded version, but I don't know. I never heard this song growing up, and I'm wondering why I didn't, because I feel like it's just as banger as a single as these next couple coming up. And then I Knew You Were Trouble. Honestly, I'm gonna put this in C tier, just because I don't think it's aged really all that well, and I don't really care to listen to it. And especially like the weird beat drop, I don't think like the synth pop, almost dubstep influence really works on a lot of it. I think it did for the time, and it still sounds good, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of hearing that again. 22 is another alright one. I think it does like the synth work a bit better, but it's also kind of just a basic song, kind of very girly, too much for my liking. And then pretty much everything I just said applies to We Are Never Getting Back Together, although I'd say I enjoy it more than the other two, just because I think the bridge is really funny when she's like, so we called me, oh my gosh, blah blah blah. I think that's pretty cool, pretty funny. The Last Time, I enjoy the vocal additions of that Snow Patrol guy, and I like the idea of the song, but it just feels like a little unfinished to me. I feel like it could have done a bit more with what it had. I feel like it's so close to being like just amazingly good, but something is missing from it for me. Everything Has Changed, I think is a great little acoustic cut, and I think, what's his freaking name? Ed Sheeran is a very welcome addition. I think he fits perfectly, and there's a lack of acoustic cuts on the Red album, and it is very nice change of pace to just hear it like that. Just very bare bones, just the guitar, and it's very heartwarming with everything it tries to say. And then Begin Again, I've never been a fan of this track. I just think it's kind of basic. The sentiment is kind of cool, like being heartbroken and then watching it begin again with some just basic stuff that everybody goes through, but I just feel like the tune isn't really there. It doesn't really have a solid foundation melodically or instrumentally, but it's still all right. And then now we're moving on to 1989, her big pop breakout. And starting off with Blank Space, I remember hearing this every freaking where, and I still enjoy listening to it a lot. I think it's probably the perfect pop song, or I'd say top 25 all time. I don't know. I just think it's super basic, but the melody is so there, and it's so spacious and airy, and it just sounds very good to me. Style is another banger. I love the guitar on this. Really gets you bumping and jiving, and I just think it does like the electronic stuff, probably the best. It's kind of like an upgrade from the stuff she was doing on Red, and I think it's just a banger. And then Out of the Woods, this might be a hot take, but I think it's kind of basic. I like the vocal sample at the beginning, but then the chorus doesn't really just do anything for me, and then the verses don't really either. It kind of just feels like soulless in a way, and I think I don't mind listening to it. It just doesn't do much of anything for me. Shake It Off, along with Blank Space, is just another pop classic, and my mom really likes it, so I probably enjoy listening to it the least out of the ones in S, and I'd probably say like some of the ones in A are probably better than it, but for what it is, I just think it's like it's too iconic, to put it in a really dumb word like that. But next up we got Bad Blood, and I always thought Bad Blood was just fine. I think it's kind of cringe. She's kind of just like, now we got bad blood. Look what you've done. Why did you do this? And it's kind of like, yeah. But the vocal performance is pretty great. But other than that, I don't find myself coming back to it too much. Wildest Dreams. A bunch of people really, really like this song, and I think it is pretty good. I love how like dark it is, especially during the beginning, just like the kicks and the synth pad just setting us up for a really cool atmosphere. And I think the chorus is obviously super banging, but I just think it's pretty great. Nothing too good, nothing too bad, and I do not remember New Romantics. Sorry. Now we're moving on to Reputation, and these are some interesting songs to go through. Ready for it? I actually think is a pretty cool opener. It's definitely really different from anything she had done, but I think the experimentation really works on this one. I really like how it goes from bam, 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 and just like crazy noises to like a really quiet pre-chorus, and all of the turns it takes are great. But I just think it's pretty good. I feel like there are other artists who could do this style better, but for what it is, I actually think it's pretty darn good. And then Endgame, nah, bro. If you got Future on a T Swift song with trap beats, it's like, bro, what are you doing? I like the idea of it, but the execution just not there for me. Next up, we got Delicate, and I actually used to really love this song. It was probably one of my favorites, but it's since kind of fallen off. Kind of want to put it in A, but I also feel like it deserves B. But I think it's I think it's one of the best tracks on Reputation, just because of how simple it is. It doesn't try too much, but it still has that, like, it's very vulnerable, put it that way. And I love the effects she has on her vocals. I think they work really well. Look What You Made Me Do. A lot of people really don't like this song, but I actually think it's fine. Like, I remember people when it first came out, they were like, it doesn't even have a melody during the chorus. It's look what you made me do. Look what you made me do. And yeah, I get that criticism, but like there are also a bunch of other songs that don't really have a melody, and I like how it just like thrusts you into what she's trying to say on Reputation, but it I don't think it really matches the bad bitch energy it's trying to call upon. But for what it is, I don't mind listening to it. Getaway Car, I think, is very, very overrated. I just think it's a fine song, and it's kind of like Cruel Summer in that way. It's like, why do people love this one so much? It kind of just feels like a worst version of like Out of the Woods, and I don't even like that song, so I'm like, why is it so played, and why do people like it so much? Don't know, but I do not remember the song. Sorry. I think Lover is such a banger. The instrumental is pretty amazing, and then I love how like far back her vocals are. They're very dry, very airy, and then the instrumental is obviously really cool as well. I kind of want to put it in A, but we'll put it in B for now. The Man I think is fine. I actually don't think there's anything like inherently wrong about the song. I think the electronic production is pretty cool, and then the lyrical content is like, yeah, but I just don't see it as being better than any of the stuff that is above it. So I like this placement. You Need to Calm Down. I think I really like the the synth bass at the beginning, the boom 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 boom. It's super catchy. It definitely carries throughout the song, and then the chorus vocals where she sings with herself all together is also really cool, but I don't know, it's kind of basic and also kind of cringe like some of the other ones, so I like it at B. And then me hee hee woo-hoo-hoo, that's the only part of the song I remember, and I do like that part, but the rest of it I probably not as memorable. And now we're going to the brother sister albums of Folklore and Evermore. Starting off with Cardigan, I think that this song is close to perfect. I just think the piano melody going through it is very captivating, and then the drums are also super interesting, and then I just think the vocal melodies are amazing. Really cool metaphor of picking her out like a cardigan, and I just think it's the perfect opener not only to the two albums, but I just think in general it's just a great, amazing track. I think it's so good. I love it. The bridge that goes on and on and on, it's just like, oh, so good. And then Exile I think is also an amazing track. Justin Vernon coming through with that low vocal register, and it makes it sound nice and good. And I think it's an amazingly stunning duet, and I wish there was more, and there is more on the next album, but I just think it's quite a good piano ballad. Next up we got Betty, and I think this is a very cute, fun little song about teen love, and I love how she switches up the narrative throughout the song, giving us the guy perspective and the girl perspective, and it just sounds super fun. It's like I get excited at the end, like, yeah, what a great story. And it's just a really cool instrumental. It has a harmonica in there, for Pete's sake. So yeah, Willow I think is all right. It's a good opener, but the repeating guitar line kind of gets a little boring midway through the song, and I love how high in her vocal register she uses for the chorus, but I just think it's a pretty basic track that doesn't serve as well as an opener as like The One, for example. No Body, No Crime. This is also another storytelling banger, and I just think it's super fun, super like twangy, like yeah, and I just think it's a good track. Next up we got Coney Island, and I'm just gonna put this in B. I think I think it's guitar, just like ding ding repeating throughout the whole song doesn't get old like it does on Willow. I think it paints a perfect atmosphere of just like longing, and then sitting on bench in Coney Island wondering, where did my baby go? It's like, yeah, I feel it. And now we got the bonus tracks / promotional singles. I don't know why Love Stories here, although I do enjoy the re-recorded version more than that, so I'm just gonna put that in here. I don't know why that's there, and I haven't heard this, and I have not heard this, and Midnights. I don't know why these were before, but Lavender Haze I think is okay. Um, I think it's trying to be really cool, and it kind of hits on it. It has all the normal markings of a good pop song, but it's just not as good as the one that came before it, or the ones that came before it. But I'd say just the better version of it is Anti-Hero. I think for like a late stage, I don't even know if I could call her career like late stage, because she's still going. But I think for what it is, it's actually like kind of a banger, and I like how she actually looks back at herself for once, because I think it's good to recognize your mistakes, and it's a really cool. And actually, after just now re-listening to it, I'm actually gonna bump it up to the A tier. I think the synth bass is super distorted and banging, and then I love the vocal melody. I'm a sucker for melody, and I think it does it great. Karma, I think, is fine. I've actually haven't even heard the version with Ice Spice yet, but I hear it sometimes when I'm out, and I'm like, yeah. So it's okay. Breathe. Oh yeah, we're on to the extra tracks now. Breathe, I think I need to re-listen to it right now, because I swear I heard it, but I don't remember it. I'd say just for the fact I couldn't even remember it, despite me listening to it yesterday and the day before, to try and remember it, I still couldn't. I'm gonna put it in C. I think it's fine. I like the doodle diddle doodle, and the breathe is kind of sweet, but other than that, I just think it's all right. It's all right. Kind of a bit basic for what she has early on. You're Not Sorry, don't remember. Speak Now, I think, is a cute little wonderful tune. I again like the original over the re-recorded, just because I like how younger she sounds, because it feels like an immature track, like being like, don't marry this person, but it's cute. It's a cute song. Haunted, I never got the hype over. I think the strings are like very in your face and like pushes you along through it, but at the same time they feel kind of tacky, if you will. And it's a melodramatic. That's the word I'm looking for. This thing is melodramatic, and I don't think it works for it all of the time. So I'll put it there. Don't remember this, and State of Grace. I think that this song is amazing. I love this song. It starts out with those drums just pow, pow, and then the bass comes in, boom, 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 boom. And the first time I heard that, I was like, wow, like I'm ready. And then the guitar is such an arena rock tone, and this thing just rocks so hard all throughout. I love the distortion on the guitar, and then during the pre-chorus, the vocals just go absolutely crazy, and I think it's like the perfect opener. I think it's my favorite opener by her, and it just sets the stage for like this new era of T-Swizzle trying out more than just country, more like rock, baby. It's pretty great. The Moment I Knew, do not remember. Come Back Here, do not remember. Girl at Home, do not remember. Welcome to New York, we've been waiting for you. I think it's okay. It's a fine opener. I like how simple it is, and I like the electronic elements in it, and it's like a fun track that I would want to listen to if I ever went to New York. And I'd be like, yeah, but it's all right. Wonderland, do not remember. Sorry, You Are in Love, do not remember. Gorgeous, I also don't really remember, but I remember it being just okay. Call It What You Want, I also don't remember either. Sorry. The Archer, I also really don't remember. The one I think is a awesome opening track. The piano, the dun, dun, super simple, but I love how full and deep the chords are. Like you can feel it just resonating in your soul. And it's it talks about a relationship, which is kind of like all she talks about, but it's a good tie-in to like bring your listeners into like this very newer sound for this kind of album, and I think it does really well. And just instrumentally, the the guitar and the piano is just makes for a very full, complete song. You All Over Me, Do Not Remember, Do Not Remember, The Lakes, Do Not Remember, and wow, we're on the last three, baby. All Too Well, I am just gonna put it right here. I think it's probably the best song she's ever made. I'm kind of like a sucker for long songs already. I listen to a lot of Tool and a lot of Swans, which can get to like 30 minutes at times. So it has that going for it, but then it's also on top of it just the most intricately written of all of her tracks. Like she just goes on and on and on to every detail, and it's like I like the notion of, I kind of learned this in school, like the more specific you make something rather than general, the more people can relate to it. And like dancing around the kitchen and then the refrigerator light, it paints a picture that's just like, I know exactly how you're feeling right now. And she does that for 10 minutes with all these switch ups and changes, and the production from Jack Antonoff just ties it all together. And it's just like, I could listen to it over and over again despite it being 10 minutes, because the emotion is there, the lyrics are there, the melody is there. Literally everything I like about any song in general, this thing just does it perfectly. Question, I don't remember. And finally, we have Bejeweled. And I will put this into the C tier. I like how, like, the drums are super electronics, like the I think that really cool is really cool. And I like how she's like, I can make the whole place shimmer, polished up real nice. It's very braggadocious, and I like that. And I'm kind of talking myself into putting it a little higher now, so we'll put that there. um and yeah, that is all of them. And now this is the raw score, and now I'm going to put them in order, starting from the bottom, actually. Um, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Um, and bam! This is my final ranking of all the Taylor Swift singles. And be sure to drop a comment down below about how you feel, and let me know what I should rank next. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.